Hi, cutie pie. This is Nicki coming to you with another episode of Love and Hip Hop Hollywood, season 6, episode 4. Listen, I liked that they came on early today. At first, I was like, "Oh my gosh, they're gonna come on early," but I actually enjoyed that they came on early because it's like I feel like I'm not rushed to try to like get everything else done or whatever. Anyways, let's get right on into it because it was a filler episode, you could tell, but I thought it was one of the better episodes. Coming off of last week's So we see A1, Bobby and Mickey Monday, all playing ball. And I guess his name is Bobby. He's saying he wants to get back into the league and everything. He was like politics. I don't know. He's not playing professional basketball right now. He wants to get back into the league. So we see Lil Fizz talks about how he and April are just cool. There's nothing going on there. I mean, at this point, we all know they're lying, but we all just roll with it. And then we see that Mickey speaks about, he's met this really great girl. Her name's Slick. She's the face of Fenty. She is really pretty. But we'll talk about that later. But yeah, she's a really pretty girl. And then we see where A1 speaks on Summer Bunny and just how, he's just, Lyrical's not speaking to him. And Fizz is just like, listen, you got to make that right. You got to talk to her. You got to make this right with her. Because y'all are married. Like, it's different when you're a boyfriend and girlfriend. Like, when you're married and you want to fight for your marriage and you have a baby, you can't just let her go. Even if she's mad at you, you can't let her go days without speaking to you. You got to make it right. So that's what A1 says he's going to do. So then the next thing we see where Lyrica and April are speaking, excuse me, Lyrica and Princess are apartment hunting. And Lyrica says, at the end of the day, so they're apartment hunting and everything. It's, we see the place. And at the end of the day, she just tells Princess, who Princess says she understands what Lyrica is going through because Ray J cheated on her. They didn't have a baby at the time, but he did cheat on her. And the only way he could understand that he was about to lose her was that she actually had to leave. And so Lyrica is saying that she does not want to leave. She did not want to raise her child in a broken home. But she does not want to continue to do this, what she's doing right now with A1. So if it takes her leaving to get them together or whatnot, then that's what she's willing to do. But she doesn't want a broken family. So then the next thing we go to, she wants her family to work, excuse me. So then the next thing we go to, it's K. Michelle and Brittany, and they meet up at the beach, I believe. Excuse me. They meet up at the beach, y'all. I don't know what it is about Brittany, but I've had enough. I've legit had enough. It was like, okay, so they meet up at the beach, and K. Michelle, they're just talking about everything, and then K. Michelle gets upset because Brittany says that Black China wants to be a singer, and she's helping Black China, and K. Michelle has always said this, that her God-given talent that she uses and performs, she feels like everybody now, the industry is so open, and everyone can use that. Like, everyone is using, just saying, oh, I want to be a singer. And all of a sudden you have a record out. And it doesn't matter if you have talent anymore. Because you could not do this. Like, in the heydays when there was Mariah and Whitney and Celine Dion and stuff, you had your girls that could kind of like hold a note, but they had to be able to dance. Like, they had to be able to perform. Like, Janet Jackson, Paula Abdul, they had to be able to perform on stage. If you're not going to give it to us locally, like, you have to have the look, you have to have the moves and everything. Like, but now it's just anyone can do it. Anyone can go on stage and perform, and anyone can go on stage, get up and say, "Oh, I'm a singer." And K. Michelle is just like, when your career doesn't work out, where you're supposed to be like the thought. When that doesn't work out, now all of a sudden you want to be a singer, which I do like Black China. I haven't heard anything from her, but I do like Black China. And Brittany just said she respects Black China more than Mo because she doesn't feel like Moniece is taking it seriously in April and everything. So then they get on the subject of Lyrica because K. Michelle said all the stuff that's happening with Lyrica, and Lyrica was like a little sister. She hates that she was one of the reasons that caused all this with that rumor last year about Safari. and she wants to reach out to Lyrica because she says people always send her things thinking that, I don't know if she said it at this part or a later part, but people send her things, but she doesn't revel in someone's downfall. Like, this doesn't make her happy, all the stuff that Lyrica has going on with A1. That doesn't make her happy. She's actually sad about that, and she wants to reach out to Lyrica and talk to her. And I guess just get it together and just, just see if that she's okay. Sorry, y'all know I'll be on my laptop. So then we go to Brittany B says she has an issue with Lyrica because Lyrica said that she didn't know her. She said she was a groupie. I guess Lyrica didn't like Brittany B. And so that's why Brittany B has an issue with Lyrica. So that's that. So then we go to Mickey Monday, who is with his family. And, I like his little story on Love and Hip Hop because they're showing, to me, it reminds me of Love and Hip Hop before, when it first came on here, when they had Love and Hip Hop New York, when you would see the family side of it and you would see the music side of it, and it wasn't so much about drama. Well, I mean, they had drama, but they also had like realness to it. And I feel like you get that out of his story because you get to see his family, and we find out that his daughter is gorgeous. She's 9 years old, and they show her, and then his mom and his dad are not together, but they still live together, so they have this weird thing going on there, he says. And so anyways, the whole family is sitting down, and they just talk about like he could have had a lead role on Empire, but he turned it down because he got with Akon because of the woman that he knows named Trish. And so he got with Akon, and Akon was like, you're a sure thing. We're going to put you on the radio, and you're going to be it. Like, I guess this was at the time when radio was still a little, because now radio doesn't matter. But but a few years ago, like, that's how fast things changed, because a few years ago, radio was the big thing, having a #1 single on the radio and all of that. But now it doesn't even matter. And radio can't break you. But anyways, so he just talks about how he made the wrong choice, and his dad feels a little regret because he said Mickey came to him and he talked to him about it, and he feels like he helped Mickey make that bad choice. And Mickey is just like, no, I'm a man. I made that choice or whatever. So, don't feel. I'm trying to figure out. Don't feel bad about it because at the end of the day, it was my choice and I made it. And so, anyways, y'all, can you tell I'm tired? It's been a long day, and I just threw something on real quick. Didn't even try to like straighten it out, but I digress. But anyways, so Mickey, I don't know. I just like that scene with the two of them. With not the two of them, but the family. I like that dynamic, and I wish we saw more of that on Love and Hip Hop. So then we go from there, and we see that Trisha Anna is she's something over convict music, but she was having a meeting, and Akon kind of just broke in. I was like, okay, so is Akon gonna be out here now? Because Akon kind of just broke in when she was having a meeting. I guess she's one of his wives. Y'all explain to me. I don't know. I guess she's one of his wives on the show. And so I don't know why they threw this scene in. I guess just to let us know that Akon has no ill will towards me. I don't know. I didn't care about the scene. All they were talking about is like their business and who they're developing, and that he has no, he hopes the best for Mickey. Mickey just needed more patience, and he hated it didn't work out with him. I don't know. I don't care. I don't care about them. So then we go to Lyrica and A1. So Lyrica and A1, he comes up to her. They're in the house, excuse me. And he wants to work it out. But at this point, she wants to work it out, but she's tired of working it out. She doesn't want to continue this vicious cycle where they continue to hurt each other. He cheats, she cheats. And she pretty much says, like, you've cheated several times. I cheated that time or whatever. We forgave each other. We moved on, but then you kept cheating. And at this point, she's just over it. She does not want to continue going through the cycle. So he's trying to do whatever he can to get her back. So he tells her, that and he says in the past he could have just bought her something. He could have cheated and he could have just bought her something and it would have been over. And that reminded me of what T.I. said when he was like now because of social media and everything, he can't just he and Tiny just can't work it out real quick where he could get her something or he could say something, they could have a discussion and move on from it. So for those men that were able to get away with that, I'm glad social media is outing you all, because that makes and women, we have to do better. Like, you can't just, like, if someone repeatedly cheats on you, they are a cheater and that will not change. Leave them alone. So anyways, so he says he could have just bought her something and they could have moved on, but now it's not the same. Like, she's different now, and so she doesn't know if she wants to stay with it, even though she loves him and she wants that family unit. That's just a part of her. Another part of her wants to be happy and go about her business without him, because being with him is not making her happy at this moment because he keeps messing up. And so, anyways, one way to get her back is he tells her he wants her to go on the road with him. He has like 2 dates left, and he wants her to perform. And even though she's like she wants to perform, it's not gonna be that easy. She doesn't have it in her to get on the stage and pretend like everything is okay when it's not. Because I want to say she had maybe she might not have had postpartum, but she was really sad after the birth of her child. She was having, she was going through emotions, but she doesn't call it postpartum. So I don't want to say that on her if she's not saying that. But yeah, so she can't pretend, she can't fake it anymore, is what she's pretty much saying. So then we see K. Michelle did decide to do the IVF, and she's having doubts about her surrogate, and she doesn't really go into it. And I'm like, hey, please don't be like, because y'all know how. Anyways, so then we see Moniece is singing, and she sounds really good. And Stevie Mackey is helping. He's a vocal coach that works with Jennifer Lopez and somebody else, they said. I can't remember. But so he's helping her, and then April comes up, and April starts to sing. She was a little bit timid. She has an okay voice. She was a little bit timid about singing, and then as she's singing, Brittany B comes in and they harmonize, and it's good or whatever. And Brittany B, of course, she has something to say in her confessional about April's voice. I mean, it was a little shaky, and it did, she was timid. That's what it is. So then Stevie leaves, and then they start talking. April, Brittany B, and Moniece. And they're still wanting to go on tour. And Brittany B said, it's just like, I don't understand how this will work. Because this girl just like did a diss track about you, but here you are wanting to go on tour with her. And April brings up again why she did the diss track at Moniece. I don't understand, like, if Moniece and April are willing to go on tour and work this out, everybody else, like, forget your opinions. Like, let them do what they want to do. Like, this has nothing to do with the rest of us who don't agree with this, who don't think it's going to work. That has nothing to do with us. If they want to go on tour and think this is going to work, I say let them do it. And we'll see what happens. Like, I don't know. But I don't think they end up going anyways. Excuse me. Y'all, this sinus got me acting up. Come on. This weather has my sinus acting up, I mean. So then, Brittany B says she doesn't really know April. She doesn't know her vocals. The only thing she knows her for is that diss record. And all. I don't like the way Brittany B comes at people. Like, we understand that, and I don't know if it's because she was homeless and she feels like, or she was struggling and she feels like she has to prove herself. I don't know what it is, but she comes at people and she's very condescending. But April and Moniece are just like, well, we're working this out. We had a talk and it's all good. And she was like, so that's all it took was a talk. And Moniece explains again that her issue was never with April. Her issue was with Fizz. And him not telling the truth. And him not explaining where her son, like, she never had an issue with April. But because of Fizz, it might have seemed like they had an issue, but her issue was really, April just got in the crosshairs between Moniece and Fizz and their whole thing. That's pretty much what it was. Ooh, child. So Brittany B says, so the I don't, so that's the end of that because Brittany B just said she doesn't understand how they think it's cool, but she'll work with them or whatever, and they're like, okay, and that's the end of that. So then Mickey Monday, then we see Mickey Monday, and he meets up with Trisha Ann. And so they're talking or whatever, and she's like, the last time we met, I guess their romance ended bad or whatever. And it was like they were in business, but they couldn't really be in a romance, I guess, because Akon, and she was with Akon, and Mickey Monday was just a rebound. So I'm like, you shouldn't mess with her anyway if she was like the one of Akon's wives. Honestly, I was trying to follow their timeline on how they got together and how this had happened, and I was just like, well, it didn't work out. You should have went to Empire, because if you was liking Trish, that wasn't going to work out. If I was Akon, I wouldn't have given you a deal either if you were messing with one of my wives or whatever. I don't know, y'all. But anyways, he tells her he's happy he has a new girl. And she's like, you're lying. That's not your type. And she started using knives, and he's like, put the knives down. She was like, that's not your type. And he's just like, and this does happen, like when someone isn't your type, just because someone isn't what you previously liked does not, or isn't like, yeah, yes, just because someone isn't physically what you previously dated doesn't mean that you're not attracted to them and you don't have feelings and love for them, and that it doesn't mean that they can't be someone you fall in love with and want to be with. And she was like, it's the girl with the gap. And I was like, wait a minute, sis, because I got a gap. Watch your words here. But anyways, I don't get that. And I was like, is she the new Nicki baby? Like, because it feels like that's what they did. They just went and found another Nicki baby on this. I mean, listen, I was like, you can't really talk because we don't know what you really like under all that, and all the look like surgeries and stuff. We don't know what's going on. But here's a girl that you really don't know. It sounded like she still had feelings for him. I was like, do you still have feelings? And especially in like the preview of the next week's episode, it really seems like she has feelings for him, even though she's with, like, you're with Akon. You say you happy and everything's good there. So why are you tripping? I don't know. Some women do that. They never want to let the guy that they were with, like some women, they don't want to let him go. Men do that too. But y'all, I'm speaking to the women because I'm a woman. And and sometimes they do that. They just don't want to let that person go and move on. And it's just like, sis, if you still want them, say that, but don't be petty about it or whatever. But anyways, that was it with them. So then we see Lyrica, and she is in the studio. And then K. Michelle comes up, and then they have a nice little talk, and K. Michelle apologizes to Lyrica about spreading, saying the thing she said about Safari spreading the rumor, starting the rumor. And Lyrica's like, well, I can't really be mad at, I can't be all the way mad at K. Michelle. And I was like, you can, because your marriage was not, like, none of us even thought your marriage was real at first. Now we know it was real, and we're like, well, y'all were playing a lot to be married. Like, y'all, it seems like y'all went into marriage like for a joke, or thinking it was going to be one thing, and it turns out to be, like, it seems like they didn't go into marriage with a serious mind frame and a complete understanding of what marriage actually is. That's what it seemed like. And so now that things are falling apart, like, that's how it was going to it was like, it didn't have to happen if you had, but you have to understand, like, it seemed like they were still doing the boyfriend and girlfriend, but they were no longer boyfriend and girlfriend. They were married. And you can't do all that cheating, and you can't do all the flirting and all the other things that you might have got away with when you were not single, but you were just dating, because you're married now. And things like a summer bunny who will throw it in your wife's face that all of that kind of stuff happens. But anyways, Lyrica and K. Michelle just, because K. Michelle says, I know how she's feeling because she's had this baby, and so she thinks her career is over. And she just encourages Lyrica and tells her, your career's not over. Everything's going to be fine. She asks about the Summer Bunny situation, and Lyrica admits that A1 did sleep with her, and she's having a hard time getting past it. And K. Michelle tells her, get back to what you do. Get back to singing. Get back to Lyrica. And she didn't tell her to leave A1, but she did tell her people co-parent all the time. Like, yes, a lot of people don't want to have broken families. No, they want their children to have both parents in the home, but sometimes you got to co-parent and you'll be just fine, and your baby can still be just fine, with the co-parent and everything. You just have to build a healthy relationship with your used to be significant other so that the baby can be okay. So anyways, that was a nice little scene. And then K. Michelle offers to have Lyrica be at her studio. No, she's having like some kind of session. And Lyrica jumped at that, which she didn't want to do. She's having I can't think of what a showcase, and Lyrica actually wants to do that. So she's like, yes, I'd love to do it. And she was like, K. Michelle is right. I do need to get back to Lyrica and finding myself again. So then, y'all, we will go to this Brittany B. I don't even know what Brittany B is. She's having some kind of event. Now she invites Zell, which she don't really know, but she invites him because they have friends alike, and he's a stylist to those, I guess those people. Anyways, she invites Mr. Ray and Zell, and so they're talking or whatever, and she gets the key to YTF. I don't know. I don't, it's beyond me now. It's like I don't know any of those type of things now. Once you're older, like I remember, when you were young and you used to throw up the rock and it was the Rough Riders and all that, it mattered. But now I'm like, I don't know who these young people are, what affiliations they have with each other. So, anyways, we go and we see that Zell and Paris are on their way, and they come in and they're like, "This is real nice," but they're already throwing shade at Brittany B, because she had on this live green dress, and Brittany B she got body, or whatever. And so they're throwing shade at her and everything. But anyways, so she says, "I'm so happy my two friends are together." So I thought she and Zell were closer than that. So then she sees Paris there, and she and K. Michelle are friends. I feel like Brittany B doesn't get to know people before she judges them. She's one of those people that if her friend has an issue with them, then she has an issue with them. And I don't like people like that because, like, I don't think it should matter if your friend has an issue with them. Like, get to know that person and everything, but I don't think she's one of those people. She just rides off the emotions of her friends. And so because K. Michelle had an issue with Paris, she automatically didn't like Paris. So anyways, Zell and Mr. Ray talk, and they're just like, Jason Lee is like, how did this happen? And they were like, Mr. Ray was like, I didn't get to, I just judged him and didn't give him a chance. And Zell was like, I was like, what he did was wrong, and he wasn't right for how he treated Mr. Ray. And Brittany, okay, now Paris is like and is like, oh, this is just industry stuff. Do this later and all that. Now I am like, you ain't have to do that. Like, you didn't have to do that. And her attitude, I guess, did come off like, because she was feeling some type of way in the confessionals about that. I'm like, I don't understand why these grown people care if other people make up. I've never understood that. Like, if you don't like somebody, don't like them. But if your friend wants to make up with them, okay. Like, what does that have to do with you? So then we see that Brittany B turns to Zell and Paris, and she says, listen, I didn't invite her. I'm ready for her to leave. And then Zell acts like he forgot that Brittany B invited him, and he and Paris just start going in at Brittany, and she starts going at them, and Mr. Ray is like, what is going on, y'all? I thought it was just so childish. It's just so childish, and it doesn't make any sense the way they do this whole thing with each other. I don't know, God. It's just, y'all are too grown for this. Like, once you get past, I don't know, 25 and get on up and stuff, like, stop it. Like, we can get like 25 and under, you're still growing. But once you start hitting those like around 25, you're old enough to be able to be in a room with someone, not like them, and still mind your business. Like, it's just so childish. But anyways, that's gonna continue next week because that's how it went off with all them getting into it or whatever. I don't it was a filler episode, but I still liked a good episode because I actually liked the Mickey Monday story because of what I told you earlier. It feels more like a love and hip hop storyline. Even though I don't like the Trisha Ann part of it, I'm like, this is just you got your whole thing going on with Akon, so why are you caring like about his girl or whatever? I don't understand that part. I like I I don't know. It's just something about Brittany B that I'm just like, okay, like we know you've worked with people, okay, but you're still on Love and Hip Hop. You know, even if you work with people, like even when I hear like A1 and all them do that, like, oh, I'm A1 and or you're still on Love and Hip Hop. You're still on here with the same people who other people say their career has dried up, or you're still on here with the same people who are trying to get their career, who are trying to get their career to pop off from being on Love and Hip Hop. So don't believe that you're above it all, because if you're above it all, then you wouldn't do this show. You would not be on this show. You would be somewhere too busy, too booked, and having meetings that can't be seen, and mingling with people that can't, like, stop it. Stop it. All right, guys, have a great evening.